Okay guys, here's the final overview of section C for Unit 1 Health and Social Care. Covers the whole of ageing. As in the previous videos that have been uploaded, again these are reworkings of some old videos, so hope these are helpful. So here we have the impact of ageing, the physical impact of ageing. So the first impact we have is cardiovascular disease. This significantly increases as we get older, the risk increases as we get older, and partly this is due to change in our body. So the heart size increases, the walls thicken, the arteries become clogged, pacemaker cells, which kind of keep the rhythm of the heart going, we lose those. So it becomes more likely that we are going to suffer heart. We also, as a result, lose independence because of heart conditions. It can lead to depression, reduced mobility, but it can also be quite encouraging for older people and encourage them to have a more active and healthier lifestyle in order to stay fit. Degeneration of nervous tissue is also linked to aging and is a significant change in our body. So one of the things that happens is the tissue that passes messages along the spinal cord around the brain lose their ability to send messages effectively. This can lead to short-term memory loss, decline and reduction of reflexes. It can lead to issues of speech, and this also has connections to Parkinson's disease, which again is linked to loss of neurons and the brain being able to control physical movement. And this generally sort of happens around the age of 60, and it can lead to triggers, mobility issues, and also some cognitive and thinking skill issues. Degeneration of the sense organs. So this is our key senses. So I've got taste and smell, touch, sight, and hearing. As we get older, our senses weaken for various reasons. So for example, taste and smell, the taste buds, the smell receptors in our nose, on our tongue, they become less effective. So that reduces our ability to taste food. It reduces our ability to smell odors. So for example, outdated food. And this could in turn have an impact on the body because we lose our appetite or we can't detect danger. Touch reduced senses because again the cells, the signals moving around our body slow down, so again we're less sensitive, less aware of heat and cold changes. That could lead to more likely to get burns, and we're also less likely to pick up on injuries and wounds, which again could be sort of prone to getting infections. Our sight reduces. This could be due to stuff like cataracts, peripheral vision reduces, and general sight loss. And lastly, hearing. So we lose our hearing as our sort of hearing senses become weaker, but also the fluid in our ears begins to sort of stiffen, and again that can lead to balance issues. We also might be more likely to experience sort of hearing related issues like tinnitus. We have osteoarthritis and nutrition next. Again, lots of change here. So osteoarthritis is the rubbing of the joints, particularly like bones and where you have two large bones meeting and there's a lot of movement. So knees, I think, will probably be a key one there. So what happens is the cartilage between the bones wears thin. The bones then begin to rub against one another. This can lead to tissue swelling, pain in the joints, damage to other tissue around the joint. It can create issues with walking, climbing stairs, and overall mobility. Nutrition also becomes more significant because we already know we lose our sense of taste. That affects our appetite, but also our body's less efficient at breaking down the food we eat. So we're less likely to pull out the minerals and nutrients, the vitamins that we need from the food. And again, in response to that, our body can develop illnesses such as anemia or osteoporosis because of the lack of nutrients we have from our food. Dementia does overlap a little bit with the degeneration of nervous tissue, and again it's linked with functions of the brain becoming reduced, and partly it's because of signals not moving around the brain because of build-up of other proteins and cells within the brain. It can also be triggered by strokes. It can be lifestyle related, age related, and Alzheimer's also comes under this category. It does generally happen to people over the age of 65. Signals don't move around the brain as efficiently, and there are lots of more serious effects of Alzheimer's, such as routine memory loss, difficulty completing tasks, impairment of thinking, language barriers, and self-care issues. And lastly, illness and aging. As we get older, our body is less efficient at doing its job of protecting itself, so we're more likely to get illnesses, infections. Emotionally, we might become more distressed by losing control, being frail, being incontinent, communication barriers. We lose our memory, decision-making skills, and we may be more likely to experience isolation and loneliness. So here's part 2 of aging, the psychological and economic impact. So the first we've got is psychological effects. Now, a lot of the psychological effects come from the fact that the situation has changed. So with social change of older people, you see loss of job status from retirement, reduced mobility and fitness, loss of independence and increased reliance on others for support, potentially the loss of their home, particularly if they have to move into retirement communities, the loss of friends or a partner due to death, and reduced access to social networks because it might be difficult to get to meetings, they may not be tech savvy. So these can be all causes of psychological change. Now, this also can all lead to loneliness and dependence. So 36% of people who are over 65 live alone. Now, if they have the ability to take advantage of free bus travel or they continue to drive, they do remain part of the community. They can reduce their feelings of loneliness and independence. But if they don't drive, that can increase that loneliness, the risk of depression, anxiety, and their loss of self-worth, which then leads into self-esteem. So having good health, employment, and financial security are 3 things that are essential for a high self-esteem. And again, as you get into later adulthood, you start to lose those things. So your financial income is reduced because you retire. Your employment, you lose that because of retirement. Your health will begin to diminish, and that can lead to feelings of anxiety and stress. And that can all have a negative impact on self-esteem. With the theories of aging, there are 2 key theories, and they try to explain what is happening within this life stage. The first of these is activity theory, which was introduced in 1960 by Havikhurst. And what they argue is that the social and psychological needs of older people in later adulthood remain the same. They don't really change. We still need interaction, we still need communication, we still need activities and engagement. And basically this theory suggests that as we get to later adulthood, we have more time, we have more money, we have more opportunity, so we can engage with our family, with community, with charity and education. We remain active. Social disengagement theory came in 1961, and it basically argues the opposite. Cummings and Henry argue that older people naturally withdraw from society. Social contacts with reduced, they spend their later adulthood reflecting on their life. And older people face issues like poor health, illness, geographical isolation, and also with retirement comes reduced social interaction and financial income, which all reduces the ability to engage in these activities. Also, as a side note, it's interesting to note that Cummings and Henry were right in 61 when older people didn't have access to phones, to cars, to public transport, or to social networks as we do now. And last but not least, we have the economical effects. So Age UK research found that 29% of retired people did not have financial concerns. 26% of them were just getting by. That means that 45% of older people who are retired have financial pressures. We also can see that the support that people need in later adulthood would be stuff like acute care, dealing with broken hips, healthcare, social care, community equipment, psychological care, welfare support, which they're entitled to, and possibly end-of-life care. We also see the effects of aging in society. So the UK has an aging population. This has increased life expectancy and reduced the birth rate. 1 in 3 babies born today will reach the age of 100. So we have an aging population. And as aging population increases, this also means that dependency ratios will increase. As a result, we've seen some changes like pension ages increase to 68, but this will put more pressure on healthcare as this trend continues. 40% of the NHS budget currently is spent on care for older people. If we have an aging population, that will increase. Pension costs will go up. That increases taxation on workers. There'll be employment issues, as well as some housing problems. So aging does have a wider impact on society. And there we have the second part of aging, looking at the psychological, the theories, and the economic effects.